Hi, I'm Louise McCallum from SCC Talent. Lately we've been receiving so many questions from clients and candidates alike about the latest changes to the Working Holiday Visa program. So we thought we'd bring in an expert to help us understand this area a little bit better. We have with us today Jane Price, who heads up Visa Essentials, a specialist immigrations consultancy. Hi Jane, thanks for your time today. Look, we've been hearing for quite a while that the federal government were going to make significant changes to the visa system, and then a few weekends ago it all happened. What are the changes and what do they mean?
Okay, so on the 18th of March this year, the government ceased the 457 visa program. This being the temporary employer-sponsored visa program that's been in operation for about 2 decades. If you had lodged a 457 application before the 18th of March, and that application is still in the system, so still hasn't been decided, then you are still able to get a 457 visa. So lodged 457 visas will still be processed under old 457 visa rules.
That's a relief for those people.
Indeed. But if you want to apply for a temporary employer-sponsored visa going forward from the 18th of March, you now need to apply for what is called a TSS visa, and that stands for Temporary Short Stay.
Right. So how does the TSS visa program actually work?
So the TSS visa program works in an almost identical way to the 457 visa program. So arguably it is a little bit of a rebranding exercise, although there are some important areas of difference. But structurally, employers have to be registered as sponsors. The standard system sponsors is the term we use.
Mm-hmm.
They have to nominate a role and a person for a TSS visa, and the individual has to then apply for that TSS visa. So that structure, sponsorship approval, nomination, visa application, is identical to the structure that we had to use under the 457 visa program.
So Jane, what are the key differences between TSS and the 457?
Okay, well there are probably 3 key differences. The first is that there is now a minimum work experience requirement for TSS visa applicants. They must have at least 2 years relevant work experience if they are to have any hope of having their TSS visa approved.
So no graduates?
Basically, no new graduates or no recent graduates will be eligible for a TSS visa. There's a very, very small amount of flexibility that the department has said they can offer, but we expect that to be used in very limited circumstances.
Right.
So yes, graduates are effectively out of the TSS visa program going forward.
Okay.
It is a big change.
Mm.
So the second change is that now there are no longer occupation-based exemptions from labour market testing. Labour market testing being running advertisements within the Australia-wide marketplace looking for Australian workers to fill the vacancy. It used to be that a huge range of occupations, really all occupations other than trade occupations, were exempt from undergoing a period of labour market testing. That exemption has been removed.
Wow. So does that mean that employers have to advertise for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. The law itself only really specifies the period in which labour market testing must have been undertaken before lodging the TSS nomination, in the sense that it says it needs to be either 4 months or 6 months or 12 months prior to the application being lodged. However, immigration has imposed additional requirements, and they have said that the advertising, as well as being within that time frame, needs to be advertising that's run for at least 21 days.
Wow. And in particular, how expensive does it have to be? Can it be a LinkedIn post or?
Immigration have said no to LinkedIn. They've said no to Facebook. It's interesting because immigration actually doesn't have the authority to really say these things. They do not have the authority to add extra requirements above and beyond what the law itself says, but they still do. And the grief that you would get for not complying with their additional requirements is such that our advice going forward is to, unless there's a very strong reason not to comply, to do what they say. It's the path of least resistance.
Sure.
So yes, they have certain constraints that they are putting on where you can advertise, how extensive it must be, how long it must run for, that people really need to get advice about before they proceed with a potential TSS case.
That's very significant.
That is really quite significant. It means that people who already have a foreign candidate in mind, and who may not have undertaken labour market testing for that role within the last 4, 6 or 12 months, will have to run a period of labour market testing for 3 weeks before they can move forward with that TSS case.
Okay, well that's really good to know. What about cost-wise? Is there a change at all in that space?
Yes, the government is using this as an opportunity to get yet more money out of employers. So there will be quite a significant increase in costs going forward with TSS nominations and visa applications.
Right.
The exact costings will depend on the occupation. They've now split the occupations into effectively 2 lists. Some of them will come with increased costs. Others will come with very increased costs. So, you know, when you engage an agent to assist you, they can look at firstly what occupation you're trying to move forward with and advise on the cost at that time. But employers do need to be prepared for significantly increased costs as compared to when using the 457 visa program.
Certainly does sound like you need specialist advice in this area at this